do you remember we just covered this peace plan that Trump, it leaked that this was the U.S.'s peace plan for Ukraine, and that Trump was forcing it, and his administration since stood by this plan, forcing it onto Ukraine at the threat that if they don't accept it, even if it only further increases the likelihood of aggression down the road by Russia and weakens their ability to defend themselves in that case, that the United States will cut off all support if Zelensky doesn't accept this deal. So then we covered that clip of Zelensky saying, we're at one of the most difficult times in our history. We either lose our dignity or we lose a key ally. And one of the things I said, I can actually play this for you. I had heard murmurs of this, but it was not anything like confirmed at this point. But I said, was this written with Russia? Like, not, it was a part of a negotiation, but was it like a thing they jotted down? We were like, sure. So, someone answer for me, okay? If you're a Russia defender or you see this as, no, this is just a great, fair peace plan Trump's forcing. That I guess he's been working with Russia on. Is that, or have they been a part of this? Is that why it's so slanted towards them? And answer for me why it would be important for Russia to get Ukraine to reduce the size of its army and not be allowed to join a defensive military organization. What would those two things serve? The only thing I can think of is it would make it easier for them to invade more later. No? So you heard me say that, I guess, was this like with Russia? And I don't mean, of course, a peace plan likely will have Russian demands, but there was reporting that like the U.S. had been working just with them and then was like, all right, this is what you have to do now, Ukraine. It's so much worse than we thought. It's not just they kind of secretly were working with Russia and excluding Ukraine and then are now forcing down Ukraine's throat a plan that would destroy Ukraine's future ability to protect its sovereignty. And people started picking up on this, like Ron Filipkowski said, more evidence that the Trump-Witkoff peace plan for Ukraine came straight from the Russians. It uses Russian syntax. And I also ran it through some AI because people were running it through Grok and seeing what they said. You have Grok conclusion, this document's almost certainly translated from Russian into English by a native Russian speaker or a non-professional translator. It is not originally written in English. I got the same results when I ran it through. That like, it was Russian syntax. So then you're like, wait. It wasn't just you were not letting Ukraine be a part of this process, but then you're going to shove it and force them to take it. But you also may have just been handed something that the Russians wrote word for word from what they wanted. And then you have Witkoff accidentally posting something seemingly publicly that he meant to send as a DM. In response to the story, he must have got this from K, referring to a Russian official, and then he deleted it. And then all that is happening, and we get this. Trump administration caught passing Russia's homework off as its own. Republican Senator Mike Rounds, a Republican and independent Senator Angus King have told a panel at a security conference in Canada they've spoken with Rubio, who told them the plan was a Russian rather than a U.S. document, and it was more of a Russian wish list. So you even have a Republican, there's bipartisan senators coming forward saying, this is what Rubio told us privately. But then I guess it got accepted as the U.S. peace plan, a Russian wish list document that's written by them, and we just take it and it's just translated to English, and then we're, Zelensky, you have to accept this, we're going to cut off aid without his say. Now, of course, now, even though I don't know why a Republican would come out and lie about this, including, or in addition to liberals, but now you have Marco Rubio going, no, that's not true, I never said that. While we get into the thick of this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate this show. Very simple. Millions of people watch who are not subscribed. A majority of our viewership actually comes from people who aren't subscribed. Let's adjust that ratio a little bit. Helps to get the word out. about the show. Meanwhile, Trump is attacking Ukrainian leadership. Zelensky responded to these attacks by Trump, by just saying, hey, thank you for helping, because he knows he can't get Trump more angry. Mice Touch said, here's a tweet where Vance pushed the Ukraine peace plan that Marco Rubio admitted was written entirely by Russia. This may be one of the biggest foreign policy scandals in history. Now let's look at some reporting. This shows Rubio, or at least reports on Rubio. Now, flip-flop. Oh, I never said that to them. They just made that up for some reason. I don't know why they would make that up.
Russia's war in Ukraine. Right now, U.S. diplomats are meeting with Ukrainian and European officials in Switzerland, hoping an agreement can be reached on President Trump's proposed peace deal. But that plan, widely considered to favor Russia, is coming under intense scrutiny. A bipartisan group of lawmakers, for example, critical of Trump's efforts to bring Russia's war to an end, say
that CNN, never do that again. Absolutely insane way to word that. The senators are critical of Trump's effort to end the war. Please be more specific. Because it wanted to end the war long term, not because they're critical that Trump's trying to end the war.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio told them the plan is just a, quote, Russian wish list, directly contradicting what the president has claimed.
I think he made it very clear to us that we are the recipients of a proposal that was delivered to one of our representatives. It is not our recommendation. It is not our peace plan.
Now, today, Rubio and the State Department are publicly denying those remarks, insisting the plan was drafted by the United States with input from Russians and Ukrainians. Meanwhile, President
So now they're denying it. Here's what happened. They were given a wish list, dream peace plan. And what would Russia possibly put in their dream peace plan other than anything that would prevent long-term peace? Because that's not their goal. And then Trump or Rubio or Witkoff went, great. Thanks for jotting this down. That works for us. And the crazy part is not that they accepted the document and like went, all right, well, we'll work with this, but we have a lot more to do. It's that then they just went, yeah, this is what Zelensky needs to accept. Otherwise, here's a big red line. No red line for Russia. No deadline for them, but a deadline for Ukraine. Rubio then was out saying the peace proposal was authored by the U.S. We just happen to use a lot of Russian syntax, according to Grok and ChatGPT. It is offered as a strong framework for ongoing negotiations, is based on input from the Russian side, but it's also based on previous and ongoing input from Ukraine. All right, Marco. Then you have Trump.
Aspects of your Russia-Ukraine plan problematic? Is this your final offer to Ukraine?
No, not my plan. No, we'd like to get the peace. It should have happened a long time ago. The Ukraine war with Russia should have never happened. If I were president, it never would have happened. We're trying to get it ended.
It's happening right now. Happening right now in your president.
One way or the other, we have to get it ended. So well, then he can continue. Then he can continue to fight his little heart out.
It's just so sickening. You've heard all my rants about that before. One thing to now move to a little bit more of a lighthearted issue. Look at his outfit. You see Trump's outfit? Podcast listener, he's wearing a maroon turtleneck with a black jacket. And well, we covered on Friday or whatever it was, Saturday? When was that? Friday. We covered on Friday Trump's meeting with Mamdani, where all of the MAGAs out there were getting so hyped that Trump was going to slam down Mamdani in the Oval Office, and that communist is going to get it from Trump. And then Trump goes in there and like falls in love with Mamdani, like has a major boy crush on Mamdani, and is defending him against right-wing reporters and is praising him and is touching him. And it's this whole disorienting display of affection from Trump to Mamdani. And then all of a sudden, Trump ups his style game. Some people think those two events are connected. Someone said, I can't stop laughing. He went fit shopping and got his hair done after his first date with a hot guy, Mamdani. Donald Trump, I know what you are. And then you have people sharing this split screen. which is Mamdani in a similar outfit. Trump trying to step it up now that he loves Mamdani. All very confusing. And then you have Trump saying, you know what? Upon further thought, I think New York's doing fine. I think it's fine. I don't think we need the National Guard there.
Do you still plan to deploy the National Guard to New York City?
If they need it. Right now, other places need it more, but if they need it, we had a very good meeting yesterday. We talked about that. But if they need it, I would do it. Mr. President,
are you willing?
So he went from it's a hellscape, falling apart, a communist about to take over, we need to invade and take over. And then Mamdani, we don't know what they said in the meeting behind the scenes. There's people have speculation, but like what happened that made Trump get won over so much? Some people just think it's that Trump's obsessed with winning and with charisma, and that Mamdani won and has charisma, and he just completely flip-flopped. And my point was, there's something cringe about the imagery of them having that meeting, given a lot of things. But if it works to get him not to invade New York City and for him not to cut off federal funds, which he was threatening to do, then it is totally worth it. And it did. So credit where it's due. And then it shows you how much of a liar Trump is. MAGA, he told you that Democrats are going to destroy the cities and that he has to come in and save them. And that New York City, you can't walk one block without someone mugging you. And that it's crime-ridden. And that it's because of Democrats. And it's going to get worse under Mamdani. And that's why he has to, under emergency circumstances, send in the military. And then he has a nice chat with the guy and goes, never mind. There's other places that need him more. New York's actually all right. And he got asked the question, would you feel comfortable in New York City right now? And he's like, yeah, I would. It's all just a lie. It's not, he doesn't actually believe what he's saying. New York is, he hasn't said this necessarily in a while. He says it more about Portland, but it's also not true there, is burning to the ground. And I saw some reporting, I can't remember if this is reporting or speculation, or reporting about speculation, something. But there's good reason to believe that Trump's been getting shown old videos of Portland, like during the summer of 2020, and thinks that that's what's happening right now. Because if you see the real videos, it doesn't make any sense why he keeps repeating that, like, everything's burning to the ground. It's like, what? Not at all. And same thing with New York City. And all it takes is a nice chat for him to back off, which means it's not a principle at all.